Hey Mystery Crew, it's Mystery Girl with Missy and Mystery Sister Sally. Welcome back, guys. If you're new here, welcome here for the first time. We want to say thank you to everyone for all of your continued support and for always hitting that like button. We also want to say, if you haven't subscribed yet, slam that subscribe button now. Guys, we have up our content warning because some of the material here in our videos may be traumatizing to some, and we also have up our copyright disclaimer for the videos and the pictures that we use throughout our series or an individual video. So we're going to move forward with our video, but take a look at what's to come.
This is the conclusion of Virginia's Dark Secrets, a collaboration between Missy and Sally. We are going to start with building number 38 at Western State Lunatic Asylum. Then we will get into the cemeteries, and ending with the lost souls that remain there, and haven't crossed over yet remaining at both Western State and DeJarnette. Missy and Sally hope you have all enjoyed this series, and they cannot thank you enough for all your continued support. This video series is the first of Missy and Sally working as a team and will be working together from here on. This video contains very sensitive and disturbing information and images. If you haven't yet slammed that like button, go ahead and do it now. Show your support for Missy and Sally by helping get this video into the algorithm. Are you ready to go back to Virginia?
Mystery Crew, what you're looking at right now is inside the Staunton Correctional Facility, which is at the old Western State Lunatic Asylum building. I had been informed through research that all the buildings were either changed into the condominium or the hotel, and then I think there was like a spa. So it said that everything was changed as far as online, but guys, there are still buildings there, and this is not the only one. This video was sent in by Jackson, who lives close to Richmond. He sent me an email, and I am so thankful. Thank you so much. Guys, this is so exciting to see, and we did get some other footage throughout from Jackson of DeJarnette, so you will see that later on. But look how exciting this is, and this is originally the Western State Lunatic Asylum, guys. The place is freaking huge. Oh my goodness. So this, I'm guessing, would have been a recreation room when it was Western State Lunatic Asylum. Usually rooms of that size, those dimensions, are recreation rooms, or a dining area. But to me, it kind of looks like it might be one or the other. For all I know, it could be something different. I was never there. So, but that's what it looks like to me, one of those. And this is just insane. I know I'm not alone. I know there's other people excited about this that have been watching the series. So I know I'm not alone, but I am so sorry. I was wrong. And when Missy is wrong, I say it. There are still abandoned buildings over at the old original Western State Lunatic Asylum. And this is one of the buildings that was converted into the prison. So I took out the sound because I wanted to record over it, and also everybody that sent me videos, I told them I would take their voices out of it because these places are private property. They're not supposed to be there, and I do not want to be responsible for anybody getting into any kind of trouble just for a couple of few-minute clips that they sent me. So do not attempt to go there. As you can see, the way that the paint is peeling, that is a sign of asbestos paint or lead. So guys, this is just so exciting. But please don't attempt to go there if you're in Virginia. You can see some of the older buildings in the back that are still there. You could tell just by the bricks, and look at the windows. It's just so beautiful to me. I love old architecture. And look at this. What a treat this was, Jackson. Thank you so much if you're watching right now. Thank you so much for sending this in. Truly, truly appreciate it. This is a rare thing for so many of us to see. I almost 100% forgot to include this building, and it's all thanks to Angela, a friend of Sally's, that had sent her some pictures. And I was like, wait a second, that's in the building video, which I never made because I wasn't sure if anybody was going to watch it. So, guys, remember earlier on in the series, I spoke about DeJarnette having another building that was named after him, that the DeJarnette Sanatorium was not his first building. Well, this is it. And this is the building that is located at the Western State Lunatic Asylum. And this was wards M, N, and O. And they were female wards. It was known as Noisy DeJarnette. It housed 96 females, and it connects to Building 30 South. It's a 3-story building, and it was built from 1911 to 1921. So the building was complete in 1921, and over the opening of a 5-panel door is the, concrete panel with the inscription DeJarnette Building 1913, and you're looking at it right now. The lobby was on the first floor, of course, with hallways that led to the north and south with patient rooms opening onto the corridor. Building number 38 was first known as the Noisy Building, and as the name suggests, it housed the most vocal of Western State residents. The name was later changed to honor Dr. DeJarnette, the institution's longest tenured superintendent. While overlooking the building of new facilities and upgrading of existing facilities, Dr. DeJarnette requested an infirmary and a building for noisy patients. An 80-bed infirmary was completed in 1911 with patients that had been residents at the Western State Lunatic Asylum. They were made to bring the bricks. The Noisy DeJarnette building was completed a few years later and also made with patients that brought the bricks. So they used patients from Western State Lunatic Asylum to help build the infirmary. And of course, there was no cost. And Dr. DeJarnette would brag about this. So he even bragged that his house was made by patients' labor, which is absolutely sickening. So yes, guys, this was not the DeJarnette Sanatorium was not the first named building for Dr. DeJarnette. It was actually at Western State. And again, Angela, thank you so much for sending those pictures to Sally, because I would have absolutely forgot that I had had that in the video for the buildings. So guys, Building 38, don't forget, that's Dr. DeJarnette's first building, first house of terror. The death and burial of Western State Lunatic Asylum and some from the DeJarnette Sanatorium from 1828 to 2001. There are 2 volumes of the deaths and burial records from 1828 to 2001 containing patient names and information that are less than 125 years old. This includes the death, the dates, and burial of the patients. Patients were all assigned a number, so the register included patient name and their number, date of death, and if the family claimed the deceased for a private burial or were buried at the hospital. The register also includes the terrace number and grave number. The first volume includes a map of the terrace and the graves. The majority of the second volume is dated 1930 to 1959, with only 4 pages covering 1979 to 2001. Now remember, Western State Hospital moved location from 1970. They moved to the new location, which was just down the road, adjacent to the DeJarnette. So it was only recorded for 9 years after. So where are the other documents on patient deaths? It's something I want to know. Most people are unaware that there are 2 separate cemeteries for Western State Hospital. There was an old one and a new one. And after a while, I guess they changed location of it. I don't know why, but they did. So the old cemetery is located at 550 Richmond Road, Staunton, Virginia, 24401, and it's for patients from 1839 to 1847. It's located on the grounds across the street from Fisher Auto. If you're from the area, you might know it. So motorists that are driving down Richmond Road, some of them daily may not even notice an old cemetery that pretty much hides in plain sight, even though there is a chain-linked fence surrounding this place of what some may call a horrific history. That road is also known as US 250. The old Western State Cemetery stands pushed back a little bit from the road. There is even a large blue sign saying Commonwealth of Virginia, oddly, also easy to miss, proclaiming the small enclosed area. The old Western State Hospital Cemetery, again, was from 1839 to 1847. Easy to miss and oddly due to the lack of headstones. On a half-acre of land, 104 said to be buried here, yet maybe only 4 markers remain standing. It said the first burial that occurred here was in 1828, which again was odd because it was the same year when the hospital received its first patient. This was also when it went by the name Western State Lunatic Asylum. Only 2 of the remaining headstones are engraved with identification. The one so well preserved and readable is that of Hiram Gore. Some believe this headstone was replaced, being updated after 1840, as when he passed away, only a lot number of 13 was on the grounds for him. His family may have replaced it, and the lot stone with the standing stone is still standing now. So if a family member did not replace the stone, they're no longer there. Most of them have fallen, they don't have names. It said that there is literally only 4 remaining standing, guys. That is so sad and sick that these people went through such horror while there, and in death, they can't even lay in peace and have their memory shown and displayed for family members that may still want to go and see them, that may be generations down the road. that look up a family through Ancestry or something and maybe find out, oh my gosh, I was adopted. My mother, that's her father, I want to go. And there's nowhere to go. So I am making a plea to the state of Virginia. Do the right thing by these patients that never had right done for them all of their time at Western State or DeJarnette. They never had things done correctly for them. And in death, they should be honored. And I am making a plea to the residents and the state of Virginia. Please, I can't do anything. I'm in Florida. So Virginia state residents, reach out to the governor. There are logs, and that's why I read it. There are logs with the location, with the burial number, and the patient's name and date of death. Please, replace these headstones. Let these people be honored for suffering for what we now have as current medical treatment. And thank God we don't have Dr. DeJarnette. Thank gosh. But please, Virginia State, do something about these cemeteries, both of them, because I will be getting into the other one. Give these people honor in death that they never had in life. What breaks my heart is knowing that the honor of these people that have passed on went through a life that now in death, they don't even have a proper resting place. They went through a life full of misery. If these patients were all assigned a number starting in 1828, and the registry again includes both the patient name and number, that also includes their date of death, the state of Virginia should claim the registry and put up proper headstones to respect them in death, showing that the people and state of Virginia are making up for what was allowed at the time to cause so much horror in their life. It will let them rest in peace with a name and open those gates. So even if someone didn't know them in life, they can bring flowers to their final resting place and honor them and acknowledge that they are heroes, suffered for so many others who didn't have to. Finally having a place that shows them some respect. Virginia State, you can't let those in this cemetery remain with no names. If you do, you're doing to them in death as DeJarnette did to them in life. Everyone, slam that like button, get this video into the algorithm, and maybe some official in Virginia State will see this video and do something. Because again, let them rest in peace. Give them in death what they did not have in life. A half a mile from the original Western State Hospital, a new cemetery was off Statler Boulevard in Staunton. It was now where patients that had passed away were now being buried. Listed as private property, there is permission required to enter the cemetery. The old cemetery, as you saw, had the fence around it. The new cemetery, you do have access through the grounds of the old Western State Hospital, where you can walk and get up there. But as Jackson told me when he was getting the videos for me, which there's an additional video at the end of, 2 videos at the end of this one, that he had a friend sitting like at the bottom at the grounds. And he told him, if anybody questions you and they're ready to call the cops, let me know. And he did get a phone call saying, get out of there. They're ready to call the cops. So if you are in Virginia and you want to go there, you can get permission to enter the cemetery. If you do it right, you won't get in trouble. So the state turned this property over to the Staunton Industrial Authority, turning once public property into private property. So it's no longer state-owned, guys. This cemetery is now part of the Villages of Staunton. Some say they didn't know the property was turned over, and they continued to go there and were getting told either leave or if they didn't listen, they were actually getting tickets and fined for it. This second cemetery is located just behind the former correctional facility, now the Villages at Staunton, leaving many of today's generation thinking this cemetery was for the prison, but it's not. Some not knowing the prison was once Western State Lunatic Asylum. The name changed to Western State Hospital. Therefore, they are not aware it was once a hospital. Many didn't know this cemetery is for the patients of this hospital because they were born in a different generation and they're only seeing what's there now. So they're not familiar that this was once a hospital, then turned into a correctional facility. Now the Villages at Staunton and also the Blackburn Inn is there. So many aren't aware what was there many years ago, and that's what this cemetery is for. As of July 2020, there are 2,360 buried here at the second cemetery, with burials starting here around 1839 to 1840, which is when they stopped doing burials at the first cemetery. What many don't also realize is between the two cemeteries, some of the patients here were Civil War Confederate and Union veterans, as well as possible World War I and World War II, and as well as possibly even Korea veterans that were probably patients at one point, maybe for PTSD. They were patients possibly at Western State Hospital being treated. More than approximately 2,000 unmarked headstones stand here. Some do include names and date of birth, but mostly barely any of them do. The ones that do are said to have been added later by family members of the deceased. Most buried here passed away at Western State Lunatic Asylum. It's said the final burials occurred between 1984 to 1986, before the 1986 law that requires names and dates of headstones. This cemetery, with a sad reminder of the terror and horror of the treatments endured at Western State, is the 6th largest cemetery in Augusta County. Now, I've heard through a lot of articles, reading during research, that when patients were buried at the original cemetery, that there was 3 to 6 bodies buried in one plot. 3 to 6. Okay, so they're saying there's 104 buried there. That's what they had those little nameplates for. But how many are actually there? That's kind of sickening to me. Just a few reminders that this is the final burial ground, which is behind the Western State Hospital. And it occurred around 1984 to 1986, the law that requires names and dates on headstones. It is said that Virginia State, guys, does not want names on the headstones of the patients of Western State because of the stigma of mental illness. I personally think it's because they don't want it known what patients were treated by Dr. DeJarnette. How wonderful would it be if there was headstones there that had names and the grounds weren't kept where you can't even walk through them? Those grounds are horrible. They are horrible. They're not kept. It's How would any of these state officials in Virginia feel if it was their family member that had vines growing all over their resting place? And I mean, how nice would it be for people that are concerned with mental illness and patients that have gone through this and would maybe like to go and just put flowers on somebody's grave? Maybe bring 2 dozen and put 1 flower on each grave. How nice would it be for somebody to be able to do that? But nope, these places are fenced off. It's private property. You're not allowed. These people are not allowed to be honored. Their honor is being kept away from them. And it really upsets me. It's, like I said, you need permission to go there. And you will be fined if you don't. The cemetery is, again, just behind the former Staunton Correctional Facility, now known as the Villages of Staunton. And until I received that clip of the correctional facility, I did not know that those buildings were still empty and abandoned. So there are condominiums there, and there is the Villages. I believe there's a movie theater there. But there are still some abandoned buildings. So, you know, this just upsets me so much that their memory is basically being kept the same as they were treated when they were alive. And it's horrible. It's horrible. Civil War, Confederate, and Union veterans are buried here, as well as possibly World War I, World War II, and Korea. Our veterans are here, where their graves are kept disgusting, with no name, no date of birth, no date of death, none rest in peace. It's very upsetting and I think it's just very disgraceful. And again, guys, there are 2,360 buried here at the second cemetery. And come on, that's as of 2020. So that's 4 years ago. As of 4 years ago, there are 2,360 graves. Now, there are many stones in this new cemetery, but what about the original 104 at the first cemetery? And what about the ones at the second cemetery that do not have names? They were treated so bad in life, and for their memory to be disgraced in this way is horrific. It's horrific. If I had found out that I had a family member here, you know, doing family research, I would be so upset and disgusted. It's not even, it's just so wrong. These people deserve so much better. They deserve so much better. In my eyes, all 2,360 plus the 104 at the first cemetery, plus if there was multiple bodies being put in one burial plot, all of those people are heroes to me because they suffered so all of us, everyone else, can have better mental health treatment. They deserve a lot better in death. Guys, this is just so horrible. And, you know, I had to go into the cemeteries and I wanted to make that plea so bad. And I really do think I want to write letters to Virginia State, to the officials in Virginia State. Who cares about a mental health stigma? By you not putting names on these headstones, Virginia State, you are saying that mental health has not come anywhere in the last God knows how many years. I'm sorry, I didn't do the math. I'm speaking to you from my heart right now. If you are not willing to put names on these headstones and honor these poor souls in death, you are saying that people with mental health should be ashamed. And damn it, there is not one person with mental health that should ever be ashamed. And it's statements and writings and decisions like that that make people commit the suicide. I was going to say the S word because YouTube doesn't allow it. So if they block that part out, I'm sorry. But it's reasonings like that that people commit the S word, because we are now in 2024. We are no longer in the 1800s. And Virginia State is still saying no names because there is a mental health stigma. Give me a fucking break. Mental health. Almost every single person in the world suffers some form of it at one point or another in their life, whether it be anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, PTSD. It doesn't matter what form it is. No one should ever be ashamed of mental health. Let's go on. I want to watch this video with you guys because there's a few things I want to point out, but I also want to give another huge thank you to Jackson for another great video. Thank you so much. If you look at most of these headstones, they're standing up, but there is a lot that are laying down, and a lot of them, the writing is there, but you cannot see what the writing says. And again, guys, we got to remember, these are our war veterans who fought for our country, who fought for rights for us, and are now laying there without a name. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. Look at these weeds just growing above the headstones. And how can they keep it so unkept when families put out, some beautiful headstones? Some are low, some are standing, but there's names. There's memories for some of these people because they had family. Others didn't have family. Some people that were put there for mental illness, they were actually just dumped there and left there and don't even know what their family member went through. Others, it was kind of kept a secret, like most hospitals do. But Virginia State needs to do something about this. I know, I keep repeating myself, but it's so important. If you look in the background on the right-hand side, when it goes up a little bit, those buildings in the background are actually the Western State Lunatic Asylum that became the prison. So this cemetery is directly behind the old prison, which was once Western State Hospital. So right at the end of this cemetery, there's a road, and then there are the buildings for the old Western State Lunatic Asylum, Western State Hospital, which turned into the prison. I wish I knew which building it was, but I don't.
There's been efforts to raise enough money to help urban memorials at both this cemetery as well as the original cemetery.
It's so sad to see this when they have the books. Our family members and our veterans are not stigmas. If you want to put out a word, Virginia, that mental illness is not a stigma, that it's accepted in today's day, first place to start is by giving these people, these heroes, our veterans, our family members, names. Look how beautiful that is, but look at all the weeds. I mean, whoever bought it, why buy it if you're not going to maintain it? Why? This is just sickening to whoever bought it, that they are allowing this to happen. Now, it may be colder month, but come on. I mean, in the summer, I've seen video, and there is some video also from Jackson, but it was very wobbly. It's at the end of this. I am going to include some of it just so you could see how beautiful the green grass grows. And they were different years apart also. We're going to be moving on to summer months when the cemetery was maintained at some point. This is, I don't know when, I don't remember, I'm sorry. But at least the grass is cut. You guys see how close it is to Western State Hospital? It's literally crossing over the road that's on their property. From what I've heard also, somebody did mention to me that they are over there, or they were over there, doing some kind of construction to some of these buildings. So I don't know if you go there, you may see construction being done. I don't know if somebody bought some of the buildings or what, but you may see some. I don't know if it was recent, but I was told that there was construction going on there. I just didn't know that there was still abandoned buildings until recently. How sad. There's tipping over, no names. It's just so heartbreaking to see. You could barely read it. There's a number there that makes it easier to look in that book and find that name. It's so heartbreaking. Guys, please all put up prayer hands for all of these heroes that are laying in these grounds, not being able to rest in peace, not being shown any love, and obviously not even their tombstone being maintained. Please put up prayer hands. Right now, I want to see those comments full of prayer hands. Look how, somebody has a little flower there. How nice would it be to see all of them remembered? Even if it's just one flower. Just one flower says so much. On one of the tombstones, I believe it was, I don't know if it was this cemetery or the old one, it said someone cared. That's just so touching, just to even see that someone cared. Please, Virginia, do something. Show our heroes they're loved. Give this property back to the state so people can go there and leave flowers and show respect for those who paid for us, who suffered for us, I should say. Now that you know all the history, now you know why these areas are so full of paranormal. When the prison closed in 2002 to 2003-ish, it remained vacant for a few years, which now I'm finding out some of the buildings are still vacant, before the Blackburn Inn opened in 2018. During this time, some locals would explore the empty buildings, and they stated that they could hear moans, whispers, and footsteps around the property. Those going, some spending a night, a few days, a week at the Blackburn Inn, they say that they can hear screams. They can actually hear footsteps and moans. I mean, in the the reviews, people said that it gets so noisy at night when they were a patient at the DeJarnette Center, that it would get so loud up on the upper floors, which that's where the attic is. And there are so many people that have said that. This is known, DeJarnette is known as a top most terrifying building for paranormal. And I had to cut out the sound on the videos that are attached just because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I asked for if old footage, some people sent it to me, but I still don't want to get anybody in trouble. So it is one of the most haunted places in North America. And guys, some even say it's among the most haunted place on earth, which I've heard that about Pilgrim State as well. So, these places, these people suffered. And now that you know the history, if you do go near or you get permission, you know what these people have been through, and now you can communicate with them. Yes, you might not know a name, but now you can communicate with them and you could say, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you went through this. It's okay for you to cross over to the other side and rest. We will honor you, and we will do respect everything that you suffered for us to have a better mental health care system, even though it's still not perfect. But at least now you have an idea. So, guys, these buildings, whether it be Western State, DeJarnette, Peary, the prison, they are gorgeous buildings. I mean, they're so historic. They were built to be beautiful, and they are. Can't take that away from it. They are definitely beautiful. But, like, what is it? One of them had a observation room with a double-sided mirror. I don't know which building it was, but I remember reading that. It is not open to visitors and it does have many do not trespass signs. For those that ignore the sign, some can be put in prison and others will get huge fines. So please do not go there and get yourself in trouble. I know I keep saying that, but I don't want anybody getting in trouble. There is tons of graffiti. That's why I wanted to post a lot of these pictures. Tons of graffiti, which happens to most of these mental hospitals that become abandoned. I mean, if you look at Pilgrim State, Kings Park, they're absolutely full of graffiti. Now, in Pilgrim State and Brentwood, there's a lot of gang activity. So, that's one reason. But to go in and do all this damage to these beautiful buildings, it's heartbreaking. It really is. In some of the hallways, okay, I don't know if there's any footage, I don't remember, but you will see the metal bed frames that remain in the hallway. Now remember, when they ran out of room, they would actually take patients and put the beds in the hallway. I'm sure some of you have been to a hospital, whether you hurt your foot, your arm, or whatever, and you go to a regular hospital and they don't have room, so they put you on a bed in the middle of the hallway where everybody can see you. Well, that's how it was in these mental hospitals. When there was overcrowding, they would just put the beds side by side, not long ways either. They would put them facing outward so they can get more beds in the hallway. So in a lot of these pictures and a lot of videos that I did see, I don't know if what was sent to me has any of that, but you could see the metal bed frames still in the hallway. It's disgusting. It's disgusting that, some of them did that. Some say that the building is actually demonic, guys. And in a lot of the rooms, there are, I can't remember the word right now. Pentagram. There is a lot of pentagrams throughout the building. Some are upside down. I know there's different meanings for that, but I don't know what they are. I am not into that. So, so some people say it's demonic, and I know some people that go out for the paranormal, or they like to find demonic things, but not me. I want to stay away. Keep me away from that. Again, some of the roofs and the ceilings are collapsing. The walls are collapsing. There is video footage of that. Guys, if you see behind, that's the Peary building, there is a cop car sitting there hiding behind the building. So, like I said, there's cops everywhere, and even like warnings, the roof is caving in. So it's very dangerous in there. So it's definitely not worth going in. The one wall that has caved in, the dirt, I don't know where all that dirt came from, or if it's just rubble from the building. That is not the entrance that was filled with manure. There is an entrance that was filled with manure, but that is not it. They say that there is the pentagrams that are painted again on the floor with burn marks visible that are in the basement. Now, the hydrotherapy shower is in the basement. There is video footage in the videos that you're about to see. So here we go. The video is starting. We got beautiful, beautiful video. It will start in a few minutes. But you will see the hydrotherapy shower. Somebody thought it was funny at one point, and they put Christmas lights in there, which to me is disgraceful. Just what a lot of people have done to these buildings is absolutely disgraceful. A lot of people have said you can hear banging and banging, which none of the video had captured any sounds. They didn't capture anything in any of the videos that was sent to me. Otherwise, I would have left that in. But at least you'll get a view of the inside of these two buildings, the DeJarnette and Peary. So also, guys, it does have the gate in front of it that says "Do not enter." Many times I think they've had to replace the gate. They've had to replace the sign. A lot of people that have been there, I did see a lot of people go there, at night. They say it actually smells like death. And walking through the halls, bats will come flying at you, and the smell of death, they say you can just smell it, and it's unbearable. A lot of people will actually wear masks, not because of the lead or the asbestos, but because the smell of death, which, if you could still smell it all these years later, can you imagine what that place smelled like way back when? So the outside is completely overgrown by bushes, trees, vines, moss, and tons of poison ivy. There is so much poison ivy on those grounds. It's ridiculous. Depicted especially by the stairway, by the DeJarnette entrance, the big long stairs, and the Peary, there's poison ivy everywhere. Those who have visited the abandoned DeJarnette Sanitarium, which a lot of it is now boarded up, but it doesn't prevent the explorers from going in and entering the buildings. Those explorers have reported hearing the sound of anguish. I can't say the word correctly, sorry. Screams. Despite the building being completely empty, they can hear screams, like intense screams. And now you know why. You've seen it. You've heard it. Now you know why. The building is said to be full of paranormal activity. With a dark past, this sanatorium you cannot expect anything less from this sanatorium. It's known as one of the most haunted places in North America, and you will all understand why, because now you know the history behind it. The ghost shows that would walk through the hall. You can see black figures walking through the hall. So many people have reported that, and a lot of people say, again, that they can see DeJarnette walking into, I guess, what was his office at one time. You can see the black shadow walking down the hall into an office. And that has been reported very frequently by paranormal investigators that have gone in there, that they actually saw that. You can see ghost kids walking up and down the road that lead to the front of the sanatorium. And you can also see ghost kids playing around where the pool once was, which kids kind of, I'm most fearful of spirit kids. I don't know why, but those are the ones I am most fearful of. And yeah, I guess we all have our own little fears when it comes to the paranormal, but that one's mine.
Hi Mystery Crew, it's Sally. Thank you all for your support. I hope you all hit that like button for us. It means so much to us to get this series into the algorithm. Mental health is a serious issue. I mentioned in part 6 that I am a retired deputy sheriff for the city of Richmond, Virginia. I transported both adult inmates and juveniles to the location determined by the court. I told you I had an experience I would tell you in this conclusion of the series. I was given an assignment to take an inmate to DeJarnette Western State Hospital in Staunton, Virginia. While transporting the inmate, my partner was telling me I may see a ghost and that the place was haunted. He told me that he has seen a figure of a girl in one of the windows of the abandoned hospital. I laughed at him and said, "Okay, right," but when we pulled up to the DeJarnette Western State buildings, I was looking around and had a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. Sure enough, in a part of the hospital that was abandoned on the second floor, there was a little girl in a white dress looking out. My heart stopped and I thought, oh crap. I asked my partner if he saw her and he said nope. We continued to take the inmate in. When we came back out, the little girl was gone. It was a very quiet ride back to Richmond. This is one experience I will never forget. Mystery Crew, I can personally tell you these places are haunted. I'm so glad I got to share this experience with you. Enjoy the rest of the conclusion and thank you all for your support.
When Sally first told me this story, I swear to God, the hair on my arms and the back of my neck just stood up, and this chill went straight through my body. I was like, oh my God. If that was me, and I've said this to Sally numerous times, if that was me, I probably would have gotten back in the car, turned it around, and took the inmate back to the courthouse. I don't think I would have went forward with walking into anything in that vicinity. I do not deal well with children. Like, even in a movie, if I see a child ghost and I'm not watching the movie with my husband, I'll like come out of the room, walk it around the house, make sure the door is locked. You know, like, I just don't deal well with children ghosts. Children are supposed to outlive adults, and I think that's why it gives me the biggest fear. Sally, thank you so much for sharing that story and your personal experience over at the DeJarnette and Western State building. I really appreciate everything that you do, your job. I mean, thank you so much for your services. It's not an easy job, so thank you so much for all you've done for Virginia. But yeah, Missy does not do children ghosts. I can't, and I don't want to communicate with them because I don't know, I think that is something that would personally traumatize me. But guys, people have reported seeing like I said, the ghost shadow of DeJarnette, and you can see the kid ghosts playing around where the pool was. Now, they had the pool and they took it out because the insurance had gone up and it was too much. So even in the 1960s, when the sanatorium was still open, people report that they saw children, spirits over at the pool, which that's just wild to me. That's wild. So there's no actual windows, or if you notice in any of the pictures, no actual windows are left, but instead they covered them all with boards. And a big distinction between DeJarnette and the Western State Hospital is the windows. If you look at the shape of the DeJarnette building, the windows on the DeJarnette building, they are super creepy. I'm sorry, even when that building was new, brand new, I would think those windows were super creepy. I do not like them. And yeah, no, not me. The front entrance is also, like I said, crazy overgrown by bushes, trees, moss, vines, poison ivy everywhere. It's blocked off by a chain link fence that leads to the once beautiful staircase. That staircase must have been beautiful in its day, to the main entrance. And it does have a small opening to access the once welcoming, now haunted entrance, that if you're lucky, you can find an open door. I have seen so many people go to this entrance, and it's very noticeable. And they crawl through the fence. They do not crawl. They walk right through the fence area because it's wide open. And there are at times doors that are open or open access to get into the building. So many paranormal investigators have done that and gone into the building to do an investigation. And the first thing to go off immediately is always the cat balls. The cat balls go off immediately, and it's just a sign that there are spirits everywhere in those buildings. So a lot of people see orbs. They can be seen clearly. Some of the orbs are actually red. Now, if you are familiar with paranormal, you know that different color orbs have different meanings. And some of the orbs that I have seen in people's footage that they've put online, not online, on YouTube, the orbs are very frequently red. And I have seen, not as many, but I have seen yellow. And you know it's not dust. You know it's not dust. I know that place is full of dust. But when you see a red orb or a yellow orb, that's not dust. So every paranormal investigator agrees on how creepy the building of DeJarnette is. Some report feeling heavy with a lot of anxiety after being inside the sanatorium and feeling scared and the heart pounding and racing. So many people I've heard explain that same eerie feeling. Another large building is directly next to the DeJarnette building. This is the Peary building, which I've told you about. They're connected, and they built a connector, which is a hallway, so you can walk through from DeJarnette to Peary. And so you can still find the front door open of the Peary building at times. And some say the vibe here is scarier than the DeJarnette building. Then there is a creepy building around towards the back of the campus, I guess you can call it. Continuing toward the back is a fourth small barn, and it's looking, what do you say? Looks like a smokestack, maybe a power plant. Many say that the DeJarnette haunts, that Dr. DeJarnette haunts the grounds and the building because they are no longer in his name and no longer follow his practices. So many people believe that Dr. DeJarnette is mad that the building no longer has his name because the state didn't want his name associated with the DeJarnette Sanatorium Peary building, which once became the hospital for children before it closed in 1996. The whole entire building was for children. So a lot of people say that he is mad in his afterlife that the building no longer carries his name. And you know what? It's possible. It's possible that's why he haunts it. I mean, he's saying his poem and people have heard. They see the black figure of him, and they say that, you know, he is angry because his beliefs when it changed to the children's hospital were no longer carried out. And you know what? It's possible. A lot of people have said that upon entering the staircase from the main floor, you can go up or down. It looks like the basement, if you go down, it looks like the basement actually had a fire. Whether that was when the building was open or maybe, you know, a couple of vandals went in there, and it looks like there was possibly a fire in the DeJarnette building. A lot of people have said that they have seen their flashlights start to flicker in the building, as well as cameras glitching. And again, many orbs, the black shadows, hearing laughing of children, hearing singing, hearing screams, blood-curdling screams, hear tapping, the feeling of someone watching you, shadows of children and their ghosts, and massive banging. They say that there's probably satanic rituals there, and they are known to happen here in the basement where the pentagram is. The EVP sessions, which stands for electronic voice phenomenon, the box says get out. Almost every paranormal investigator that I have seen videos on, they say that when they're in the basement, their EVP tells, the first thing it says is get out. Now I know many EVPs say that, but here everybody says the same thing. And the spirit box sessions, they will hear help, need help, Lisa. For some reason, a lot of paranormal investigators, when they're doing their spirit box sessions, the name Lisa comes up extremely often. And both Sally and I tried to look into that to find who's Lisa. I mean, we found so many things, we uncovered so many things, but none of them were attached to the name Lisa. So we don't know why Lisa comes up. So if anybody knows, drop that in the comments. I would love to know why the name Lisa comes up. I don't know if anybody watching has been here and has done this. If you have, has the name Lisa come up? Angela, who sent the pictures, if you're watching, if you've been in this building, and I don't know if you're into paranormal, I don't know if you do paranormal investigations, but if you are, did you use an EVP and did it say the name Lisa? I would love to know, and I'm sure Sally would too. A lot of the words that come across frequently also is water. So why are they asking for water? The place isn't flooded, but malnutrition was very common in this hospital. Were they also dehydrating their patients? You know, not if they were in isolation, if they were in one of the, I can't remember the words right now, I'm sorry, I'm just talking here. If they were in one of the rooms and locked in, and do they only get drinks when they bring food? And maybe they were dehydrated. And another word that is extremely common is crossover. So, how I view that is, like feeling like they want to cross over to the other side. They want out. They want peace. They want to come to terms with what happened in life and be able to come to peace in their death. And again, back to the cemeteries, I know I'm like harping on that, but it's very upsetting that these people they don't have a proper resting place, and it's definitely needed. Definitely needed. The sounds also that are very common are footsteps. You'll see in a lot of videos, if you go on and you watch some of the videos, you will see in the videos a lot of people turning around and saying, "Did you hear footsteps? Was that you?" It's super, super common, more than did you hear that voice, or I really don't hear many people say that too often, but I do hear many people talk about hearing the footsteps within the building. So you're looking at the video footage right now while I was going on. So you're looking at video footage that was sent in from a couple of different people. I tried to label each video with who sent them to me, and I really appreciate you guys emailing me these clips. I just don't go back there because probably from when you've been there, this place is really deteriorated. I can't say these words a lot more. So I'm just very thankful for these videos and the pictures. You guys are awesome, and it's very much appreciated by both me and Sally. I really would have loved to seen what these buildings looked like before the vandals got in there. This is such a shame. These people go in there and they have no respect, and a lot of the writing is actually very what's the word I want to use? I find it like rude and demeaning to people that have suffered from mental illness. Now these cages, guys, they used to put patients in those cages. If they were going up to, say, the second floor or downstairs, they had to get something, they would put the patient in the cage, lock it so they didn't either fall down the stairs or as they're going down, maybe start like some kind of a tantrum. So they would put them in these cages. That's what they were intended for, was to keep the patient safe. But instead, a lot of times they would put the patient in the cage and leave them there if they were having an episode. So again, something else that is not used for what it was properly meant for. These buildings are massive. They are huge, guys. You could see everything just falling off the walls. I mean, it's very visible how dangerous it could be to go in there, because you got asbestos and the lead paint, and if you go in there, oh man, you can have some bad respiratory problems. So yes, John sent this clip. So if you look straight ahead, remember in the treatments part of the video, I was talking about the hydrotherapy showers. That is the shower in the DeJarnette building. And somebody went in there, thought it was funny to put up Christmas lights. People have no respect for what these people went through. None. They just, they see a building and they think it's cool to do this shit. But in that shower cubby right there, they would stand across, the employee would stand across from it and hold a hose on the person inside the shower, and there's actually 16 heads inside of that shower that are also hitting that patient at the same time. It was meant to cool down their temper tantrum, their mood. I'm just watching right now along with you guys. Wow, people really destroyed these buildings. Such a shame. I mean, even if they wanted to, they couldn't do anything with this building except for take it down. And like I said, Ghost of Staunton told me that 7 offers have been made to purchase this, but it didn't go through because it would be so expensive to take the buildings down, or even to, redo them, go in there and remodel everything. It would be so expensive. So all 7, after considering purchasing, dropped out. And guys, if you look right here, here is the pentagram. I know that there's one in the basement. I believe this is the basement. But there's quite a few pentagrams within the building. Yeah, so that's something that if I went down there and I saw that, I would just turn around and go back the other way. I don't want to be anywhere near that stuff. I honestly, with everything hanging from the ceilings in this place, I would be afraid to walk through it. Yeah, this is something where you can definitely get hurt. This is a kitchen area. So there was the window where they would pass the food out through. Okay, now this big silver door that they're in front of, that's a walk-in freezer. Oh, they are going in, okay. I believe that's a walk-in freezer that they had. So guys, we gotta remember how much mental health matters. And I can't emphasize it enough. I really cannot emphasize it enough. So, Mystery Crew, what a series full of so much horror, tragedy, death. It's so horrific and it's so upsetting. And it all began in 1828 when Dr. Stribling, that you're looking at right now, began running the hospital. He went in with beautiful views. I mean, the building was gorgeous, and he believed that being surrounded by a beautiful atmosphere would help cure mental health. And, he believed in having the patients go up to the roof walks and enjoy the beauty of the place. But deep down, he wasn't such a great guy. He was pro-segregation, and he is the one that put forth the bill to have separate hospitals for black and white, which is absolutely disgusting. And this man, unfortunately, had good views, but also had bad views. But that bad views brought on Central State Hospital, which was for black patients only. Throughout this series, we have seen so much horror as far as treatment, and we've heard of murders that are still unsolved to this day. 7 murders. People take their medicine and within minutes, they're dead. What in the heck? How do those murders get slipped under the carpet? There's something wrong there. And guys, I just want to say, I know a lot of this has been really hard to hear because it's been really hard to say. And I just appreciate all of you sticking with us and, understanding these beliefs are not mine and Sally's by any means at all. They are the beliefs of the doctors that ran this horrific place that is still open, Western State, and should be shut down if those reports are right, those reviews. Dr. Joseph DeJarnette was once a well-regarded physician among the white elite during this era. DeJarnette's enthusiasm for forced sterilization saw Virginia's legislation become a model for similar laws in at least 12 other states. But during my research, as of 2022, 31 states allow forced sterilization to this day, including the District of Columbia, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Iowa, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, North Dakota, Oregon, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Utah, Vermont, Washington State, Wyoming, and yes, Virginia, although West Virginia is listed as unclear. I was so sick reading this and shocked at how many states still do forced sterilization. What in the hell? I mean, they talk all the time about abortion, don't have abortion. Okay, I'll say it. I am not for abortion, but I agree. If somebody has been raped or, something in that form, when there's something wrong with the baby where the baby's gonna pass away at birth, yes, there are reasons for abortion. But do you ever hear them talk about sterilization? No, because it's a doctor's choice or the state's choice, a court's choice. So why does the court have the right, or anybody else, not just the court, why does anybody else have the right to say somebody needs to be sterilized, but a woman can't make a decision for herself? Even though it's not my belief of abortion, like I said, for, any other reason besides, rape or something seriously wrong with the baby, or if the mother might die by carrying the baby to term. But why do we ever hear about sterilization? Why? That is absolutely sickening. 31 states. The decision is from 1979 and 1987. The government passed a guardianship law stating guardians can make decisions about health care. In some states, there are some laws that say that forced sterilization needs to help the persons help to read the laws and stipulations as there are 16. You can go to nwlc.org, which is forced sterilization laws. Each state and territory is listed. Dr. DeJarnette legally performed hundreds of sterilizations at Western State Hospital and the sanatorium. These sterilizations were on patients, or as I call them, victims of Dr. DeJarnette, including African Americans, Native Americans, people with disabilities, alcoholics, drug addicts, people suffering with epilepsy, those less fortunate, or in his words, the poor, those with a low IQ, and those deemed promiscuous. The practice of forced sterilization continued in Virginia until the 1970s. And like I said, as of the 2022 report, it is still being listed as active. So as of 2 years ago, this list is still active in 31 states. Guys, this has been a hard documentary to do. It's been hard to say a lot of what happened at these hospitals. And, we never expected it to go on to 7 parts. But we truly appreciate each and every one of you who tune in every single week and that are there to support us. And, again, we're sorry for a lot of the stuff that was in there. Just remember, none of the stuff in this series is the beliefs of me or Sally. And we want to make sure that we say thank you, because without our viewers, we wouldn't have a channel. And the thing is, mental health is so important and still considered a stigma to this day. And it shouldn't be a stigma. People shouldn't be looked at down on. And I hope that if anything comes out of this series, it's bringing light how mental health is looked at, how our ancestors were treated to bring new medication for our families or ourselves. And truly, again, those cemeteries, those people need names, and they need to be treated as the heroes that they were. Guys, with that said, thank you again, and we will see you on the next series where we get into Marilyn Monroe.
Thank you for watching. I thought I would dress for the occasion. This was the conclusion of Virginia's Dark Secrets. Let's see clapping hands in the comments for both Missy and Sally for all the hard work they did on this series. We hope you enjoyed it. Now they start research on their next series. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe. Docu-series additional video and photo credits. Many of the photos and videos used are by viewers Angela, who is a friend of Sally's and shows so much support, Brooklyn, John, Crystal and Jackson. Thank you all so much. We also want to thank our moderators who do so much for us not only here, but on social media to support our channel. Shannon, Dolly, Jody who is Missy's sister and Snoopy Missy's husband. Thank you all for all your support. And last but not least our viewers. Thank you for always watching, hitting that like button sometimes even before the premiere starts, and all the great comments and support. Video credits. Research done by Mystery Sister Sally. Location suggestion. Mystery Sister Sally. Research and script. Mystery Girl with Missy. Video and voiceover. Mystery Girl with Missy. There is an extended ending so those at the premiere and in the live chat can say goodnight. So stay tuned for a fun ending. Thank you again, and we will see you with a new docu-series soon.